Trump wants to insert himself at a time when Russian troops are taking the initiative and victory is within their grasp, in an attempt to steal the fruits of victory. Putin directly responded that Trump's disappointment stems from his overly high expectations. Both Trump and Putin have a clear judgment on the current situation of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Ukraine will find it difficult to hold on for long. Both the United States and Russia believe that the Russia-Ukraine conflict is coming to an end, but their interests do not align. Both sides want to claim the maximum gains, which inevitably leads to conflicts and confrontations. The current strategy of the Russian military is very clear. While maintaining a proactive and open attitude towards negotiations, it is concentrating more firepower to launch the most intense strikes and comprehensively escalating the attack intensity. The Russian military has launched a new round of large-scale bombings. According to RIA Novosti, on August 3 local time, the Russian Ministry of Defense reported that the Russian military had begun a new round of large-scale attacks on Ukraine, targeting 139 areas, including military airports, air defense positions, and temporary bases of Ukrainian troops and foreign mercenaries. In July, the Russian military launched a total of 6,297 drones at targets across Ukraine, with an average of 300 to 400 per day, which is 14.7 times the figure for the same period in 2024. In August, the Russian military will deploy more drones to carry out bombings against Ukraine. Russia's key targets for its offensive in August will be strategic strongholds like Krasny Svit that have a bearing on the overall war situation. Although Russia has not explicitly launched a summer offensive, the current situation indicates that this is essentially what is happening. The General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine reported that 138 battles took place in frontline areas over the past day. This data confirms that the Russian military has indeed begun to intensify its frontline attacks. While conducting large-scale bombings, it is quickly seizing frontline positions, strongholds, and villages. After receiving artillery shell assistance from North Korea, Russia has started launching intense artillery strikes on key Ukrainian targets under drone guidance. Russia's comprehensive escalation of attacks aims to achieve significant progress in a short period of time, forcing Ukraine to accept peace talks on its terms to fulfill its operational objectives. According to reports from Russia's Sputnik, in the first half of 2025, over 8,000 soldiers joined the Russian military by surrendering or crossing the border, 3 times the number in the same period of 2024. In the Kursk region alone, more than 200 soldiers surrendered within 4 days, including members of special forces who had received training in the UK. A captured Ukrainian second lieutenant tearfully recounted that their retreat route had been cut off by their own side, leaving them with no choice but to wave the white flag to survive. As Russia stepped up its bombing, 50% of Ukraine's industrial facilities have been destroyed, 40% of its critical infrastructure has ceased operations, and at least around 10 million people have been displaced or fallen into a state of hunger. This is the tragic price Ukraine has paid for acting as a pawn of the United States and fighting its wars. A large amount of Ukraine's farmland has lost its cultivability due to bombings or landmines. Once known as the granary of Eastern Europe, Ukraine is now even facing a hunger crisis, which is truly devastating. Western aid is struggling to continue. Ukraine has long since overdrawn its future, and its people can see no hope. While Western commitments to aid Ukraine have not stopped, in reality, there is a clear inability to deliver. As the Eastern Front in Ukraine teeters on the brink of collapse, the sky over the southern Zaporizhia region is shrouded in a moving shadow. Hundreds of millions of desert locusts, forming swarms up to 20 kilometers long, sweep across farmlands and cities like a dark cloud pressing down on a city. In the village of Kushugam in Zaporizhia Oblast, the locust density reaches 80 per square meter, far exceeding the warning threshold set by the UN Food and Agriculture Organization. This locust plague, described as the worst in a decade, will push Ukraine into an even more dire food crisis. The root cause of the locust plague can be traced back to June 2023, when the Kakhovka Reservoir suffered a catastrophic breach. After the floodwaters receded, satellite detection revealed that the exposed riverbanks contained 220,000 to 380,000 locust eggs per square meter of soil, setting off a vicious cycle. After devouring crops, the locust swarms invade cities. Residents attempt to drive them away with fire, which triggers wildfires that further destroy the habitats of natural predators. On the outskirts of Melitopol, the bat population has dropped by 73% compared to pre-war levels, and each bat originally consumed 3,000 locusts per day. The United States is beginning to prepare for Ukrainian defeat, seeking to maximize its own interests in such a scenario. Expert Alexei A. Pylagov notes that the U.S. is trying to extricate itself from the Ukraine conflict in a way that minimizes its own losses. Although Trump, disappointed with Putin, has threatened new sanctions against Russia and approved new military aid to Ukraine, these are not his true objectives. Trump and his team have recognized that Ukraine's defeat is inevitable. Their top priority now is to safeguard U.S. interests. Former Pentagon advisor McGrady's assessment states bluntly, Ukraine has already lost. It never had a chance to win from the start. He sharply points out that after all this fighting, Ukraine faces a triple dead end: no more people, no more money, no more weapons. Russian military expert Alexei A. Pylagov adds that the U.S. is encouraging its allies to take actions beneficial to Washington as it seeks to disentangle itself from the Ukraine conflict with minimal damage.